All right. Playoff time has come. I didn't know where I wanted to do this, whether it was going to be week 18 or wait till the playoffs start, but I figured best to just wait till the playoff bracket was set. It was still really confusing on who was going to be in, who was going to be out. I didn't want to go through all that. I plan for now on doing this once every single week. Every time we advance, I want to try to get on here and do one of these, but we'll see how it goes and how mad I am when I inevitably get eliminated. Hopefully, I at least get to the second round to play the Cardinals. On that note, we did have some interesting developments in the playoff races. I do want to check one thing between the 7 and the 8 seed because the Falcons looked like they were a lock. Vikings won 7 straight. Falcons lose 4 straight to miss the playoffs. What seemed like was a lock in our last episode to make it, and that flipped really quickly. So congratulations to the Vikings railing off 7 wins, making it to the final playoff spot here in the NFC. I know it says 8 have clinched, but seeding wise, it ended up being 1 seed Eagles as he beat us in the last week to secure that one spot. Was kind of close. I lost by 2 scores, I think it was. Had a fumble early in the game and a pick that tried to high point a pass. It didn't get high point. It got picked off way outside on a red throw. And then I was playing catch up. I threw one more pick at the end of the game. Lost by 2 scores. Not something to really be too ashamed in, outside of the fact that I just couldn't stop his offense once again. But that's just been the story of our matchups. 2 seed Cardinals snuck up there. Saints did drop to 3. Lions to 4. We'll be playing them tomorrow at 12. It all goes as planned. AFC, as you can see, the Steelers, Ravens ended up getting there. Not sure how the Browns turned out, where his record finished. I did want to get that, at least the graphic up to show. And then we'll just go division by division from here. That's not the right button. Standings. AFC wise, the North, I mean, it was close. Browns lost 4 straight to finish out the year. I mean, again, we thought the Browns had a really good shot, and he just didn't close out where you want to. Very similar to the Falcons. Bengals at 10-7, out on a tiebreaker is rough. At least your tiebreaker is because of the losses to him. That's a better way to go out. Ravens win that division at 11-6, which is pretty good considering how tight that division was. Obviously, we knew the Jaguars clinched a long time ago, but did finish at a respectable 10-7. 11-6, 11-6, get 2 out of the AFC. Jets didn't have many wins this season. Finns obviously dropped out for a little bit and came back. Finished on a 3-game losing streak. Glad to see him back. Hopefully, we'll see him for the next edition of Madden if all goes as planned. And if AFC West, Broncos Chiefs come out. This was pretty top heavy. I mean, even 7-10. When you have 2 12 plus wins teams in your division, and you still manage to have 7. That's really good. We know when our division last season was really tough, had a couple playoff teams, and we finished with like 4 or 5 wins on the year. So Chargers put up a hell of a fight for a team that really was not given a great grace division wise, and most of his losses. Yeah, these 2 guys, realistically, any other division in the AFC, and they're probably looking at a close playoff berth. NFC North, like we said, Vikings somehow fought back into it. He took over for the Dolphins for a little bit when he had to step down for a couple weeks and had to come back to his team. So he looked dead in the water. I think 2 or 3 episodes ago, we mentioned that there's just not really a world where we see it happening. And shout out to him for making that push. Packers 8-9, finished on a 2-game win streak. Nice way to go out. Maybe played spoiler somewhere. Falcons, obviously, like we said, the 4-game lose streak. Did have a 4-2 division record. This was not decided, but kind of decided by the week 17. He played the Vikings. So again, you lose on the head-to-head tiebreaker. That's easier to stomach. 9-8 for the Bucks. Tried to make a fight at the end with a couple wins. Saints actually dropped his last one. I'm not sure who he played last. I know he had lost to the Eagles. So that's interesting. Obviously, our division, Giants back down to that 5-12 spot. Cowboys 4-13. These two, I mean, it's very interesting. I've only been here for 3 seasons, obviously. Giants had a rough year my first season here. Made the playoffs year 2. Back to 5-12. So I guess and we did have a very tough schedule. The fact that we had 15-2 and 13-4 out of the division. We had that AFC West, who, as we said, was a really tough. I actually lost to the Raiders once. I believe he's the only one from the West that beat. And we had this NFC West division. So it was tough to rail off wins consecutively. I mean, the Eagles, I guess, not got lucky, but kind of feels like you get lucky sometimes when you go up against those divisions and you just continue to rail off the wins. Obviously, the Eagles have, as much as I dog on them in every episode, the best team I've ever seen built in Madden. And it's not just he got handed the Eagles. He made tough decisions at receiver, tough decisions at quarterback. He got rid of Hurts. He did a lot to make this team his own. So credit where credit's due. That's the last time I'm going to give him credit for the rest of the edition, because I never want to play him again. I hope the Saints beat him. I'd rather lose to anyone else. I'd rather lose in the first round of the playoffs than have to go to the NFC Championship and play this guy. But, yeah, just miserable playing that roster. And we kind of peaked at it, but shout out Booby. You did a good job closing out that division, 13-4. Niners sneak back in the playoffs. Seahawks, not sure exactly what happened this season. Just a down year. If he could have just railed off a couple of the tougher wins on his schedule, obviously he had our division. I'm not sure what division they played in the AFC. We'll see what actually his AFC record, just out of curiosity, was. He did good against the AFC, so yeah, just had trouble against those guys, top portion of the NFC. And the rest of his division capitalized on it. Stat-wise, we'll look at our final stats. We'll look at the league's top stats. We finished with the second most offensive yards, which is nice. Defense, middle of the pack, but is what it is. Third in points scored. I'm just going to let it cycle so I don't have to look. 10th in points allowed. So, overall, pretty good season, especially offensively. Jaden Daniels had 42 and 16. Drake had a decent little showing here and there. Kyler, we got some work in. But most important thing is Jaden Daniels, 17 games played. He did not miss a single game due to injury. Now, he had to get taken out for a bit, but this is the healthiest we've seen Jaden Daniels in the 3 seasons we've had him so far. Rushing-wise, Price back to where he was the first couple seasons. Obviously, last season he only had about 1,100 yards, was a down year. Didn't look right. We got him a backup that we could trust. 8 touchdowns on the ground from ETN. Great signing. They basically got him for the minimum. That worked out really well for us. Had a touchdown out of Drake, had a touchdown out of Albert rushing. Not sure how that really happened. Probably was a fumble recovery. Receiving wise, just fell short of that 1,000-yard receiver spot. Is what it is. I was not hunting it. I'd like to see it. It's aesthetically pleasing, but this league gets so hard to run and get wins. I wasn't going to force anything. 13 touchdowns out of Ibuka, who we got on a really nice contract. squeaked out another 7 touchdowns out of McLaurin, and the resurgence of A.J. Brown, resurgence of Terry McLaurin too, but only 3 touchdowns that first season here with us. Houston's his last year. He looked like he was starting to really regress in Houston. But we squeaked out one more career year out of him. And McLaurin, who, I guess he had a decent year last year. A lot of Sims was where his stats came from, though. And it was a huge downgrade from what we saw season 1 with him. So it's nice to see him back up towards that 1K range. Obviously a big part of our team. Price, huge. Freiermuth, Noah Gray was our starting tight end last year. Let's see what the difference in stats are there. Yeah, 34, 472, and 5 touchdowns. I know the numbers exactly don't look that much better, but it's just the threat of having a guy who's going to catch the ball 33 times and be able to turn it into something, where Noah Gray couldn't turn those catches into anything. It was just short yardage things. Had some work from our backup tight ends, fullback had a catch. Not much of those bottom stats changed. Sack-wise, not terrible. That's pretty solid, I'd say. Defensively, Rodgers led us in tackles for loss. Jackson with 21. That feels like a huge improvement from last season. So yeah, only 16. The sack numbers, these are the guys. This is one of the couple guys that during that down year, for some reason, couldn't play. Went from very productive in that one season to a nothing burger. Now was relevant once again. Helped their defense a lot. Had not as much pressure from anyone else, but even our third defensive tackle got 3 sacks. A lot of rotational guys just helped on pressure. McGee, somebody who we'll see had a down year that other season. He was impactful again. He went from this was a guy who we re-signed to a bigger not bigger, but a decently large deal, $4 million a year for a guy who's not a great overall. And then as soon as we re-signed him, he turned into a dud. He was nothing for us that last year in our down year. Comes back. He had a huge improvement back up towards where he was that year before. 12 tackles for a loss to 13. Not the turnovers, but it's just helpful when the guys who are bridge players, I know that's his tag, and I'm not trying to just say their tag name on there, but somebody who was a bridge player for us and we didn't know what to do at that position so late in the cycle stepped up. Interception wise, Cole's tied with Flowers. These two guys last couple seasons we drafted studs at the corner position. We have guys we trust finally there. Linebacker core feels overall good outside of the Mike spot. Trust our safeties. Our secondary, Finch, came in this season, had a good year. I don't believe we had that many touchdowns defensively. Yeah, 4 touchdowns defensively. 1 coming from the big boy himself. 300 pounds, went 72 yards on a fumble recovery. That's always fun to see. 18 to 20 for field goals, 77 to 77 on extra points is beautiful. Something that we haven't had. The season before, he was 50 of 50. The touchdowns were just so high up. Bass came in middle of the season last season when we couldn't find a kicker that we liked. We had Jake Moody, and we didn't like him. So we got over to Bass, and Bass has been a great addition. Punting-wise, we saw this stat line here was really good before. It didn't change much because we haven't punted much. Kick return, 1,000 yards returning from ETN. Kick return-wise, still one of the few guys with the punt return touchdown. 11 yards per attempt. He's probably got a chance in an award this season for the Moff Awards. So we'll look out for that. Hopefully we get some good votes from people. We're going to look at the total stats from the NFL, and then we're going to look at our opponent a bit. We did lead the league in punt returns. We not quite in yards. Jaden Reed's going to steal my award. 1 touchdown each. We did have a longer punt return touchdown, which is, I don't know. We'll try to sway the voters, I guess. We'll see what we can do. Imprint that in their brain. Just vote for ETN because who likes Jaden Reed? Let's be honest. Or it might be AFC, NFC anyway. It probably is AFC, NFC if I'm not mistaken. And we know Miles won't win with the 1 touchdown. So May led the league in yards by far. Let's see how many attempts he led by, though. Is there yards per attempt I can sort by? Hey, Jaden Daniels, listen. I'm throwing all the propaganda out. It's the final season. I can do what I want. This is my little stupid show. Jaden Daniels, better than Drake May? Maybe. Not in real life, though. Drake May's my glorious king. Shout out Drake May. Looking a bit thicker, as the reporter said. Thicker with 2 C's. Also, 33 picks. Wow. Who? I didn't even look. Mahomes, was it? Yeah, 63. 63 and 18 is insane. I can't believe that I'm seeing that on a guy who didn't win his division, had 63 touchdowns and only 18 picks, and 70% completion percentage. Jesus, what a year. 34 picks from 33, 33, 32. Yeah, some people turn the ball over a lot. Not many playoff teams up in this spot outside of, Mr. I throw 59 touchdowns and 6,000 yards. I'd love to see his rushing stats, actually. I'm just going through stuff, and this might be a long show because of it. Rush yard. Oh. Yuck. You can run the... listen, just a little PSA to the Patriots guy. I forget if he was in the playoffs. Your run game is working. You don't have to throw 33 picks. Just saying. You could make a run if you just ran. Don't turn the ball over, dude. That's all I wanted to say about that. Rushing wise, of course, our big opponent this week, Jahmyr Gibbs, 700 yards above the next. Technically not 700, but we'll say 700. It sounds better. 700 yards above the rest. Yards per carry. Guys with carries. Not quite the top, but considering his usage, kind of at the top. Touchdowns. Gibbs again. Shout out Dorsey, who obviously had to have a big year at the end to squeak into the playoffs. Price is down here somewhere. Again, we want to keep his workload down a bit. 208 carries is so nice coming to the playoffs. He has fresh legs coming into the playoffs. And he's still up there in yards with guys like... He's a full game behind a lot of... He's at least a full game behind Allen. And he's well over that behind here. So we feel good about where our run game is at. Even though his yardage doesn't show it as much as the top guys. Receiving, Wilbur actually got surpassed. I believe he had held the crown for a little bit now. At least a couple seasons. He's been up towards the top. So Wilbur loses that race in the end. Not as much volume. Touchdown-wise, he did have that touchdown record. I don't know if it's actually the record, knowing the stats, but potentially the record for touchdowns in the season receiving. Amon-Ra, again, that Lions team's going to be tough. Not worried about blocking stats. League leader in tackles, probably with Sims from the Bears if he's getting that many tackles, so I don't want to look at that number too much. Tackles for a loss, 31. Man, Chargers doing a great job in that stat. Both their edges, even with lower sack numbers, not low sack numbers, but considering to have that many tackles for a loss, and not the sacks to go with it. Sack-wise, 13 led the league. I didn't realize 13 would be league leading. My sack numbers aren't as bad as I thought then. There's just not many sacks being had. Interceptions 14, by far again the Lions guy leads the league. I don't care for fumbles. Touchdown wise, 4. Yeah. So there's clearly some things going up against the Lions you can't do. You gotta stop Gibbs, and you cannot turn the ball over 100 times. Kicking, I always like to look at kicking stats to see how people did. I don't want to say this lost him the award, but he did miss an extra point against me, and 2 missed extra points, or 1 missed extra point. He had 1 blocked. A missed extra point, that could skew the votes a bit. It's like, I don't think Sanders could win. I don't know who's going to win that award. Bates had 3 blocked and he missed 1. Booby missed 3 field goals. Did hit a 62-yarder. I don't know. It's an interesting race, I always feel. Who got the most unlucky? Oh, we can't. Field goal blocks over here. Man. Not, I mean, blocks are pretty high, considering. 3. So, the worst of the worst luck had 3 blocks against them. But you getting field goals blocked 3 times is miserable. And when you're already struggling kicking, that's not great to see. But, you know, it's luck of the draw, I guess, with that stupid animation-based thing. Punt yards. Hey, listen, if we got anything, if we have anything, it is the best punter in the NFC. Don't look at the volume. It's the same average. We got the inside the 20s. The touchbacks aren't as bad. I'm just saying, as I appeal to the voters one more time, Philbin is the best punter in the NFC. The yardage is there. Don't look at the only 25 punts. That's not something to worry about. He would have been up there if my offense couldn't finish. Kick returns. Only 3 guys eclipsed 1,000. 2 return touchdowns out of the Vikings. 2 touchdowns out of Thornton. One of those against me, where he broke like 75 tackles and scored. And of course, had the most returns, but we already looked at that stat. We'll look at the Lions. We'll look at the Lions stat sheet. 48 touchdowns, 17 picks. He doesn't make too many mistakes. His efficiency's there, 66%. This is where he makes his money. This is the bread and butter. If you can't stop Gibbs, you're not going to win. And even if you do stop Gibbs, it's still going to be tough. I don't want to speak too much on the stats. He's got to know I'm looking. I know he'll probably watch this, so I don't want to say too much out loud. But, 2 guys, almost 1,000 yards. Gibbs had a good job receiving. Terry's getting there. Our former guy, Sanat, we lost him in free agency a couple seasons ago. Somebody I really wanted to keep. He was our most effective tight end so far in the cycle, by far. Had a couple down years in Detroit. Not as much of a focal point. Touchdown-wise receiving, 19 from Navandra. Blocking-wise, his sack numbers probably aren't crazy, yeah. His offensive line's actually really good. But, as you see, he has 3 left tackles that are good, high overall guys. But Sewell is hurt, and also... Is it this guy? One of his guards are hurt. He has 290 overall offensive line not playing this week, which is really unfortunate for him. It's probably this one who's hurt. No? This guy. Technically an 83, but with all the extra crap, he's a 90. I don't expect him to play being week to week. That's a big loss. His offensive line's still really good without them. He's got all higher overall guys. Jefferson's not a starter. Andrew Thomas is a starter. He's an 89 overall. His other tackle's still kicking. Superstar, 87 overall. So it's not going to really hinder him too much. Sewell is a big loss just because it's Penei Sewell. We already saw the interception stuff. Interesting. I don't think he was ever on my team. I just see the... Yeah, no. Okay, he was a Cardinal. That was his red jersey. 17 tackles for a loss from this guy. His linebacker, obviously his user's pretty good. We have played him before. I don't remember if I played him this season, but I know I played him season 1, and that was a good game against him. Defensive touchdowns, that's 8 on the season. So it just can't make mistakes. And again, he's just automatic from field goals. Jake Bates, one of the best kickers you can ask for in the game. Fox, decent job punting. Return wise, he doesn't return too many punts, which is interesting. I guess he gets turnovers, so he doesn't get that many opportunities. Look at yearly awards really quickly. Mahomes MVP, no surprise. Saints get Coach of the Year, even though he's the 3 seed. You could argue there was a robbery here, considering there was a head-to-head matchup that decided who had the 1 seed. But to each their own. Madden doesn't make sense much. Wilbur, Offensive Player of the Year on the AFC side. Knight, Nick Ray, Gabe Bush. And again, AFC, we're just going to be quick with it because I truly don't know any of the players left on this side, most likely. We know who the Offensive Player of the Year over here, 2,000 yards, led the league in receiving. Did beat out Gibbs, actually, is a little surprising. I don't know how long it's been since Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't won it, but geez, Jahmyr Gibbs, he gets like 3,000 yards a season from scrimmage. It's kind of crazy that he doesn't win that award. Defensive Player of the Year, we knew who this was going to be a long time ago with those interception numbers. Offensive Rookie, Defensive Rookie, we just miss out on. Patterson was amazing this season. But we had 2 guys in the running, 3 guys pop up on the list, 4 guys pop up on the list, actually. I don't know. This guy doesn't belong. I don't know why he's here. He doesn't even play that much. So that's weird by EA. Jaden Daniels, best quarterback. That's fun. Best running back, we are in the top 5. Receiver, we got Ibuka there. That's it from our spot. We know we don't have offensive linemen. This is disgusting. And it's right, but it's disgusting. I think all 4 of those guys are superstars. High overalls. But man, that's what makes the Eagles guy so hard to beat. As great as his defensive line is, as great as his weapons are, you cannot get pressure on that team. I don't know how he pays it all. Obviously, this guy's probably rookie contract. This guy's rookie contract. So he's developing guys like crazy. Shout out Patriot legend Cole Strange. But yeah, he made it really tough on everybody with building a team the way he did. Defensive line, nothing that we care about too much. We did have Medrano show up on linebacker. DB wise, nothing. Kicker, Bass is there. I mean, 6th isn't bad considering it felt like we left a lot on the table with them. And we've got through all the awards now. Is there anything else to look at? We previewed our matchup a bit. We went through the stats. I don't think so. I think we're good. On that note, good luck to everyone who made it. Final season. We finished up pretty strong, I feel. As much as I hate to see this edition end, I'm glad to see Madden uninstalled. and it was short, but this is coming to a close really quickly. Like I said, I only got 3 seasons. I cannot wait for it to continue in the next Madden. We should be able to make a run here. Lions is a tough game. I want to see, if I advance, I want to see Cardinals round 2 for sure. And then you're looking at, I know I've beat both these guys, so it's not like I'm playing the Eagles round 2 and I'm just looking for a matchup that I can't win. This is the side of the bracket I'd want to be on. And God forbid I have to play the Eagles in the NFC Championship. That means I'm only 1 game from the Super Bowl, and I'm happy with that. But like I said, I'm going to see if I can get one in every week, depending on, advanced schedule, where I'm at, and all that. If I do get one every week, as we get closer to the Super Bowl, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll take the time to watch like the weekly recap, see some of the highlights from the games. And yeah, this episode is done.